so I've decided to do a new series of videos, and here's what I want to do. Every week I want to release a new video on a different topic, different discussion about metal detectors, equipment, that kind of stuff. The reason behind it, almost daily, weekly, I see misinformation on every aspect of this hobby. And it drives me crazy. And not that I'm an expert. I believe me, I don't know it all, but I do have 25 years of metal detecting experience. I've used something over 40 different detectors. I've got a little bit of knowledge, and I surround myself by people that know a lot more than I do. And I'm not afraid to ask questions and listen. And, matter of fact, I was just thinking a few minutes ago, I know 3 people. I've got 3 friends with over 120 years of experience between the 3 of them. And I listen to them and I talk to them and hunt with them. And, I see people almost brand new to the hobby giving their opinions or their advice on something that they don't understand completely, or they're not fully aware of the whole situation, and it gets really frustrating. I feel sorry for people wanting to get into the hobby with so many people out there who, with social media everywhere, giving bad advice, showing bad information. So I want to start a new series. I want to bring you a video every week, just discussing some different topics, whatever it might be. This week we're going to talk about DD coils versus concentric coils versus size. And I think it can straighten a few things up. It's a question I get often, and maybe we can straighten that out. Before we do that, if you're interested in any of my articles, you can check out allmetalmode.com. I'm also the editor of Dirt Digest Magazine, which is dirtdigestmagazine.com. It's a free monthly magazine. We release it on the 1st of every month. So check those out. Also, every Monday night, we have Gypsy Jules and Amanda Digger DeGaz doing the All Metal Mode podcast, which you can find on Spreaker.com. You can also find us on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio. There's several different ways to find us. Every Tuesday night, it's myself and Mr. Dorian Cook. Both shows are at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Dorian has over 40 years of experience. He's just knowledgeable when it comes to metal detecting and everything else. Love having him on the show as a co-host with me. So check those out if you're interested. We talk about a lot of different things, anything and everything. But so let's get into it. Let me grab this coil, and right here we have a concentric coil. This is a 7-inch Tesoro coil. You can find the diagrams online. If you look at it, basically the way a concentric coil works is from the outer edge down to a cone is where the signal's going in, how the signal leaves the coil and goes into the ground. Now here, this is, like I said, this is 7-inch coil. Now let me show you the 15-inch double D coil. Okay, here is a 15-inch double D coil. That thing is huge. Now this coil, double D coils they go down from the center bar. That's where the signal is leaving. If you get a moment, they're all over the place. Go out and check. You can find it anywhere. See the examples, the diagrams of how a double D coil looks into the ground and how a concentric coil looks into the ground. And that'll help you a lot. So, by all accounts, if you went out and you looked at how that works, how one versus the other works, in my mind I always thought, well, double D coil should work better. Less objects can be under the coil at the same time. And I always looked at it like that. I never understood, though, really, for a long time, why I had such success with concentric coils. And maybe a year or two ago, I was having this conversation with a good friend. I'm not going to say his name. Very knowledgeable in the metal detecting community. Somebody I look up to. And he said, don't look at it as how it sees into the ground, how it's sending a signal into the ground. Think of it as concentric for less mineralized ground, double D for mineralized ground. So that's how I started looking at it. Now, years ago, I found out I love concentric coils for certain areas, for certain situations. And so I always kind of struggled with that, to understand that, and it just doesn't matter. I mean, I'm talking hundreds of hours on both coils with different detectors. They both have their place, and they both work in great ways. So usually you'll find smaller coils like 5, 6, 7-inch coils from any of the manufacturers are concentric. Well, why is that? Concentrics get more depth compared to the same size double D coil. But what you got to remember is it goes down into a cone, to a point. The cone comes to a point. So you really need to overlap your swings really tight to get that full depth advantage. A double D coil, although shallower, just works better in mineralized soil. And that's why you also see some smaller coils that are double Ds. Sometimes you have no choice if the ground's mineralized. Now, for example, when I'm relic hunting in heavy iron in a place that's not real mineralized, I have found concentric coils hands down work better time and time again. It's my personal experience over and over and over again. Not to say a double D doesn't work good, just not as good at separating the iron from the good relics and coins. A huge misconception that I've always, well, let me back that up here a second. Let's talk for a second about size. Smaller coils, if you're in a place that's just inundated with iron, let's say, it can be modern trash. It's easier with a bigger coil to miss those good targets amongst the trash or iron. The reason being, you have more targets under the coil at once. You're giving your detector more things to process. With a smaller coil, the idea is you can sneak in, have less targets under your coil, and therefore you're a lot less likely to miss targets in heavy iron, heavy trash. That's why you might want a smaller coil. Pretty standard these days that people use an 11-inch coil. Your manufacturers come out with somewhere around an 11-inch coil. That's a great all-around coil. Where you might want an 8-inch is in a place with moderate trash. Moderate to heavy trash lets you sneak in there, sneak into that between the iron and between the trash a little bit better and pick out a little bit more. Now, as you go down in size, you can lose some depth. You're going to lose some depth if you get down into the 5-inch range, but you might also pick up some targets that you would have never found with an 11-inch coil or maybe even an 8-inch coil. So that's why coil size can be really important. To me, I would rather own one detector with multiple coils, both concentric and double D. I'm fortunate enough to own several detectors with multiple coils, so that works for me, and I often change coils out for each situation. It just depends on the situation and what's going on. But the big misconception I started to talk about and moved past, kind of put on the back burner there for a second. Many people I find in this hobby, think bigger coil, more depth. And I'm not saying it's not possible. My experience over 25 years of metal detecting, rarely have I seen depth improvements with a bigger coil. And it depends on the manufacturer and aftermarket and what detector. And I know it's possible, but time and time again, using a bigger coil, I haven't seen any improvements. And I'll tell you a few really good controlled, what I would call controlled tests. I had a site that gave up over 40 silver coins, Indian heads, large, and just a killer site. A lot of seeded come out of there. And I suspected that there were deeper targets because most of the silver was 8 to 10 inches plus, 8 to 10, 11. Probably my deepest coin was 11, and I suspected maybe there was deeper. And can a bigger coil maybe find more for me? And after many hours, not one more coin was found out of there with a bigger coil. And I tried a few different machines with different big coils. Just in my experience, rarely does larger size equate to deeper finds. So why would you want a bigger coil then? Well, if I'm hunting a field and I do a lot of relic hunting. Let's talk about that. Farm fields where a house was 100 plus years ago, been gone for 100 plus years. Where the house sit, you're going to find tons of iron. I'll go in there with a 5 or 8 inch coil, depending. And then I'll keep working out until there's less and less iron, and I might go to an 11 inch coil. Well, obviously, they farmed it. The kids played out farther than that. Where there might not be any iron or a chirp now and then. That's a great time to put on a 15 inch coil and cover a lot of ground. But a 15 inch coil is not good for trashy sites. It's not good where you have a lot of iron and things like that. So what I would say, if you're in moderate soil, look at some of the concentric coils. I know a lot of manufacturers don't even offer them anymore, which I think is sad and tragic. But if you can, matter of fact, I won't purchase a detector if I can't get a concentric coil for it, because in a lot of my situations, a concentric coil works better. But if you can try one, I highly recommend it. Double D's, if you're in mineralized ground, and they can work good in moderate ground as well. Don't get me wrong, especially in modern trash. I don't know, I prefer a double D coil in more into modern trash. Concentrics, I almost always use a concentric when I'm relic hunting and heavy iron. So if you're in the market for coils and you're wanting a different coil, I find a lot of people contact me talking about a bigger coil. And my suggestion to you would be, look at a smaller coil to get in the heavy trash, get in the iron, and all of that. So, okay, I'm going to wrap this up. I hope you guys understand that. I hope it helps somebody. And I'll be doing a different video each week. If you have a suggestion, a topic, I don't know at all, but if I can, I will reach out to friends and people that I trust in the community to help me along with it. But we'll do a video. So if there is something you'd like to see, put it in the comments and we'll work on that. Thanks for watching.